This is how I overcame my homophobia. Growing up in a Baptist home with traditional Christian values, for most of my life, I'd been taught that a man lying with another man is a sin, and it defined how I move forward as a young man through this world. And what broke me open are a couple of stories that you're going to have a difficult time believing, but I want to share it with you anyways because it is true. I used to be a driving instructor for a prominent driving school, and during one of my lessons, this young man, we were nearing the end of the lesson for the day. He pulled over to the side of the road, and I could feel something was wrong. And he just started to break down. He wasn't crying, he was bawling. And I didn't know what was going on, but my natural instincts were to ask him, "What's wrong?" And in that moment, he told me that he was gay, and he didn't know how he was going to tell his parents, especially his dad. And I remember the thoughts going through my head, the programming at that time. And to this day, I don't know why that programming didn't take over. There was an imaginary eject button in the car. You would think that I would hit it, but I didn't. I listened to him and I could see him. And when I say see him, I really felt his energy. And I put my hand on his back and I told him, "I know these are difficult times, but I believe that your parents are going to love you no matter what. So when the time is right for you, I think you should tell them." I'm telling you, in that moment, I could feel weight coming off his back, feel it. And we ended up wrapping up the lesson. He got out of the car, and I remember thinking like, wow, it was the first time in my life that I had ever thought that, because I had always been told that homosexuality, being gay is a choice. It's a lifestyle choice. It was the first time that it ever crossed my mind that, whoa, maybe not. So about 5 or 6 months passed, and I kid you not, about 6 months later, the exact same thing happens. But this time it's a young woman. And you would think, oh, these students must know each other. No, they were from different schools, didn't know each other. She pulls over and she starts crying, and she starts talking about how she feels lonely at school because she's gay and she doesn't know how to talk about it to her parents or to her friends. And I remember in that moment, once again, I was thinking, wow, how could someone choose to put themselves in that situation? To me, it didn't feel like it was a choice. It was just the way they were wired. I can't imagine someone putting themselves in that situation on purpose to be ostracized, or thinking that they would be ostracized, I should say. So I just told her that I think that when the time is right, she should talk to whoever it is that she trusts, and get it off her chest. And once again, I could see the weight come off her back, and she thanked me, and she ended up driving herself home. She got out of the car, and that night, or when she got out of the car, I remember I hopped into the driver's seat and I drove around the block, and I pulled the car over, and I remember looking through my sunroof saying, "Oh God, we got to have a conversation." I didn't head home. I drove myself to a park similar to the one I'm sitting in now, and I walked over to a picnic table and I laid down on it. And I remember looking into the sky, just asking for guidance and asking for some light on this topic, because I was really conflicted. As I was sitting on the table, thinking about two things: who or what young child would put themselves through that sort of mental torture on purpose? It just didn't feel like a choice to me. It didn't feel like it was something that they were doing on purpose or to get attention. And the second thought I had was someone who loves God, someone who loves the Creator. The Creator doesn't make mistakes. Those two things were in direct conflict with each other. And I laid on that table and I didn't get up for about, it was well over 3 hours. I was on that table just in contemplation, asking for guidance. And once I finally accepted that that's the way they were created, my whole belief system crumbled in that moment. I could no longer say it was an act or that they were pretending. This was way before social media. We're talking about the 2009 it was before that, sorry. We're talking about the early 2000s, probably about 2001 was when this happened. So this was way before social media and the influence that it has now, young minds. It just seemed like these young kids were created that way. And if God doesn't make mistakes, which I believe to my core, then my job was to love them, not as out of tolerance or anything like that. It was to love them as my equal. And it changed my perspective. When I was laying on that bench, I started to think about all the times back to elementary school where there were just some people who were different. You could tell that they were wired a little bit differently. And later you find out that they're homosexual or they're gay, and you're like, oh, I could see that. So once I came to the conclusion that it wasn't something that they were seeking attention for, or it was just they were created that way. And God meant for them to be that way. So if God meant for them to be that way, my job was to love them as my equal. And how I moved forward from that moment was I didn't get on my soapbox. I didn't preach to people and tell them they were wrong. That wasn't it. As you can tell, I've only spoken about this to a few people. What I did do, though, was I ended up pulling myself out of conversations that were disparaging towards gay people or any sort of slander. I would just not participate in it anymore. That moment changed me. And I'm not here, please, if you carry traditional Christian values, I'm not here to make you feel bad or anything like that. That's not the purpose of this video. What this video is meant to do, not just this video, but this channel, is to cause people to audit their thoughts, to ask questions. What beliefs are mine and what beliefs were created by trusting the people around me? And I believe that the closer we get to peeling back the decades of programming that we've all been subjected to, I believe the closer we get to God and we get to the energy of who we actually are. It's not about becoming somebody else. It's about remembering how we came here, why we're here. And these are the beliefs that I have to my core. The closer we get to the Creator, the more we understand that we are co-creators of this world and that we are here to create heaven on earth. That's my belief. Please, if this video hit home for you, share, comment. I'd love to know your thoughts. I know this is not an easy topic to discuss, but this channel is meant for open discussion, to make you feel at ease on this channel, that there's nothing to hide here. So like I said, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.